Everyone in the press read the news far and wide. It is in fact Kari Wahlgren. Kari like Ferrari.
Kari Ferrari.
There you go.
So please tell us about some of your work.
I always like freeze up when I get that question. At this point, knock on wood, I've got like 307 or 8 credits, which is wonderful. It's very exciting. Started in anime, doing Haruko and FLCL, and that has spurred a lot of anime titles, going into Western animation. I've done Phineas and Ferb. We're getting ready to launch season 2 of Rick and Morty right now, which I'm very excited about. I was Jessica, Morty's love interest in the first season, and pretty much any other alien senator or hot alien chick. Those are all me. And a lot of video games. So I don't know. Do you guys need me to get more specific on that, or can I just say, oh, I'm IMDb it?
Yeah, we'll do that. I had some more questions. Press. Okay, cool. I had some questions. What are some of your favorite scripts that you've done? Anything in particular?
I can't think of one that's my favorite right offhand, but I think the thing that's so great about doing a lot of different kinds of voiceover, voiceover in general, you can do multiple sessions in a day. So, you know, I may be playing a Nazi vampire in the morning, and then an 8-year-old girl in the afternoon, and then a princess after that. So the job is constantly fresh and exciting, and every day is different. And the way that you record anime, as I'm sure a lot of you know, is that we already have the pre-existing picture, and so we're syncing everything up to the pre-existing mouth flaps. Whereas when we record US animation, we lay down the voices first, and then they send it overseas to animate it. So also the process in the studio can be very different depending on what I'm working on. So it keeps it very fresh and always new each day with the job. So it's a lot of fun.
Being a voice actress for anime, go back to that. I guess, what is your favorite anime if you have one? I'm not sure if you watch it or not, or if you watch your own work. I know I don't.
It's always hard to watch my own work because I'm very, very self-critical. But I did watch Dragon Ball Z and Eon Flux before.
All the way through?
Oh gosh, no. I was saying in a panel the other day that, you know, I started on an episode of Dragon Ball Z, I ran across it, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of fun. I'm gonna wait and find out how this fight turns out. And so then I watched the next episode, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch one more episode and find out how this fight turns out. And like 7.5 hours later, I realized, I'm like, I'm on you, Dragon Ball Z. This fight is never going to end. So it's crazy, yeah. You just get sucked in, and then it's like a vortex, and you lose hours and hours of your life. It's pretty fantastic.
Tell me a little bit more about your role as Saber in Fate Zero. I'm sorry, I'm kind of fanboying right now.
Oh my gosh, no! Thank you for fanboying.
No problem.
That's why they make me feel like I'm, useful. They show up.
Awesome. What are you talking about?
Saber was such a great character, and I always like it when I get to play a very, strong, badass female character.
Definitely.
So yeah, it was such a fun character to play, and we just announced it at Anime Expo and everything. We are doing Fate Stay Night now, and just released the trailer for that, and I'm coming back to play Saber in that as well. So
Woo!
very excited.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Questions?
So, two-bar. First, were you the voice of Aeon and Aeon Flux?
No. I was just a fangirl. I was just a fan and watched it.
And the other question I had is, Jason Alexander did commercials for KFC, and he said that he got a bunch of free chicken after that. You did commercials for Swiffer. Did they give you a bunch of free crap or no?
That's funny.
I just want to know, were they cheap or were they generous?
They were a little thrifty with the Swifters. Yeah, no, now that I think about it, I'm like,
No box
wow.
of mail or anything like that?
Yeah, but the check's all cleared.
Well, that's.
And they cleared a lot, so that, I was okay with that. But yeah, I never did get any free Swiffer stuff, so.
Darn. Questions? Give it back, please.
Joe Cirillo, GameAccess.net. Is there any thing that you have to do as part of your process for when you have to prepare for a voice work that involves, is there anything you have to do to your voice basically, or health-wise, that sort of thing?
That's a really great question. It depends on the role. Sometimes there are characters that are much higher in pitch, and especially if it's first thing in the morning, like I've got to kind of warm up and stuff. And for anybody that was in my panel the other day, I'm a huge fan of singing in the car on the way to sessions, and so yeah, I have a tendency to be rocking out on some Marilyn Manson and little girl voices in the car, and Twitter. Yeah, the videos of that on Twitter were pretty popular. So, so I'll sing in the car. Sometimes I'll dress slightly differently. I mean, if it's a little boy character, I will wear pants and not wear heels and that sort of thing. Just because I feel like how I stand in heels is different than how I am if I'm in just like shorts and a t-shirt or something. So the character sometimes plays into it a little bit. And I find anymore that if I go to concerts and things like that, I just aggressively clap. I don't like scream anymore. So if I go to sporting events or something like that, it's always... Yeah, and because if you fry your voice out, and there are some very famous voice actors that have told me stories about losing jobs because they went to a rock concert the night before and they're like, wow, I love you. And then they showed up and they couldn't do the work the next day, so... And I will cancel on people if I get a cold. I'm like, I feel a cold, and that can literally put you out of business for a week. So people get very protective, and everybody in the voiceover industry, like if you're planning on having dinner and you tell somebody, I've got the slightest sore throat, stay home. We'll reschedule it, because everybody gets it, because it's your livelihood.
Questions?
Nils Toledo, CCSU TV. Were there any roles that you found particularly easy to get into, and any you found particularly hard to get into?
That's a really interesting question. Really high energy little girl characters, especially again first thing in the morning, can be a little tricky because you're having to go from 0 to like 200 miles an hour like that. So like I said, there are a couple of characters, and I can't talk about one of them, which I'm so excited about. But it takes a little bit more prepping in the morning to get ready for that one. Sometimes the easier ones are just where it's very conversational and they want it very close to your natural voice and stuff like that. So they're like, okay, you're just a teenage girl, and you're saying, gosh, I hope we can get together next week. Gosh, I hope we can get together next week, and sing. So the ones that are a little closer to your natural voice, you can just, not have to really tax yourself quite as hard.
Questions?
Hi, Christy from Producers. Hi, I know yours is probably one of the greatest success stories of going from anime to the big leagues.
Cute.
Going to that whole set of people, which is really tough to do. Can you talk about that journey and what the challenges that you faced were going through that journey, and then the first unique that you got?
Yeah, that's a really, thank you, by the way, that's very lovely. It can be hard to switch over because I had gotten to a point where I had booked a couple of pretty high-profile anime series, and I was getting booked for more and more of that work. And for me particularly, just specifically, that would be stuff that I would book on my own, and my agents would book the US animation for me. Just because there are different contracts, there's a different pay scale, that sort of thing. And I got to the point where I was working so many anime jobs that I was not available for the auditions. And one of my agents pulled me aside and he said, listen, it's totally your choice, but we really believe in you, and, you just need to kind of think about what you want in your career and you know, where you want to go with it and stuff like that. And I always wanted U.S. animation to be part of my career. And so it required turning down a lot of work for a while. So there was literally a couple of years there where I turned down so many things. There were certain companies that, you know, have not ever called me again. And it's really hard because you're giving up certain money to pursue something else. And I've been so fortunate because the fan base in anime is so wonderful and so passionate, and I've been able now to go back and do a couple of titles here and there, and even now, you know, I do mostly Western animation, but there have been sequels that have been coming out with the anime schedules, and they're like, we'll work around you to make sure that we can bring you back for this character. So I feel really fortunate that now I feel like I've got the best of both worlds, but it did take a lot of, it took a lot of sacrifice there for a while. It was very rough. It was very, I've never had anybody actually ask me about it, but it was a tough transition. But yeah, knock on wood, it worked out, so.
That's
What
awesome.
was that first? She asked, what was the first union gig that you got?
You know, the first, I mean, I booked a couple of radio spots, and I booked 1 or 2 video games, but the first, like, U.S. series that I booked was Super Robot Monkey Team Hyperforce Go. Say that, yeah, 5 times fast. And we did about, I think, 52 episodes of that, and the hilarious thing was, it was a U.S. show that was done in an anime style, and I showed up at the first recording session, and there was a guy wearing an FLCL t-shirt. And I didn't want to be a jerk, but I was just like, hey, so you like FLCL? And he's like, oh yeah, you know what it is? And I'm like, I actually did the voice of Haruko for that. And he's like, what? So that show like totally inspired me to become an animator. And it's awesome. I get goosebumps actually, like literally, as I'm talking about it, because...
I can see it.
Can you? I know. Because I've showed up to so many shows now at Nickelodeon or at Disney, and the animators will be wearing anime t-shirts, and it has influenced them to go into animation or to become animators. And so again, like I just feel like this amazing sense of synchronicity and stuff like that, that my first US show was an anime style show, and that has continued to influence a new generation of you know, US animators.
Awesome. So amazing. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have.
Oh my gosh, I rambled. I rambled on.
No, you did not ramble.
Everybody
You were
okay? Any
inspiring
other
people.
last second questions that you must know before I leave?
All right.
All right, thank
great.
you guys.
Thank you so much.